You know what's so good? Pat Mahomes. Oh, Gottlieb, thank you for saying what I've heard 15 times over. I should point out, and I could bring up Twitter. We could bring back, other quotes from this very show that before game one of the season, we were all talking about other things, and I said, hey, fellas, been talking to some people around the league. Everybody is saying you combine the play calling, Andy Reid, the speed, and the running game, everything, and the now experience a year in the system. We should be talking about Pat Mahomes and what the numbers he's gonna put up. And now we are. But now we're doing it in a way in which it actually is taking away from two other stories of last night. Don't get me wrong, the Chiefs being undefeated, the Chiefs winning yet another road game against a divisional foe, that should be pointed out. Should point out. Like, take a little bit longer look at the Kansas City Chiefs. We would all agree that the Chiefs are better at home than they are on the road. Did you know the Chiefs have 3 wins over at least 2 likely playoff teams, or what people thought would be likely playoff teams? They beat Pittsburgh at Pittsburgh. They beat the Chargers in L.A. And then last night they beat Denver in Denver. And while the Broncos stunk last year, they're always good at home early in the year. The Broncos, of course, are 1-3, and they got 3 out of 4 at home to start the year. But what we're missing, because we're talking about Pat Mahomes' left-hand pass, what we're missing because Pat Mahomes has been awesome and a little bit fortunate, didn't throw an interception last night that could have been at the end of the third quarter, is we're not talking about the Broncos' inability to close. 65 consecutive times, and they had led by double digits going into at any point in the fourth quarter, they had won the game. That was the longest streak in the National Football League until last night. And whether it's that defense is lack of ability to close out, I think it's more about the offense. Kansas City's defense sucked. Came in the worst-ranked defense in the NFL. They gave up over 500 yards to the Chargers, 600 yards, to the Chargers, and it should have been worse. Chargers dropped 3 or 4 touchdown passes. Everybody had been lighting it up until Denver at home with a lead couldn't move the ball in the fourth quarter at all. I know the story should be Mahomes and how Andy Reid has found this kind of, like, you remember Weird Science? Remember the movie Weird Science, don't you?
Anthony Michael Hall.
Who was the other guy?
Don't know him.
Huh?
Don't remember. I know.
No one knows the other guy's name. No one knows the other guy's name.
Kelly LeBrock.
Kelly LeBrock is what Kelly LeBrock is. That's essentially who Pat Mahomes is. All right. It's Ian Mitchell-Smith, by the way.
Okay, I'll write that down.
Ian Mitchell-Smith. And Ian Mitchell-Smith was the wimpy younger brother to Bill Paxton's character, Chet Donnelly. Remember Chet turns him into a toad at the end? Weird Science is a movie from the 80s, 1984-ish, 85-ish, something like that. Weird Science, the John Hughes film. And based in Chicago. Almost all his movies are based in Chicago. And it kind of spoke to many of our teenagers. Early Apple IIe or Apple Macintosh computer. And instead of war games, Matthew Broderick, you should check that one out if you haven't seen that one. These guys set out to create the perfect woman. And they cut out lips from a supermodel and breasts and arms and legs and dress and whatever. And there's some sort of thunderstorm and voila, Viola. Not only does Kelly LeBrock appear, but Kelly LeBrock is totally into them. I mean, look, you got to suspend disbelief a little bit for movies. Pat Mahomes, I've seen people tweet out that he's got the moxie and toughness of Favre. He's got the athletic ability and ability to move the pocket of Aaron Rodgers. Right at the line of scrimmage, he appears to have the wherewithal at a young age of a Tom Brady. Like you start kind of going through it, and you're like, oh boy, it's Kelly LeBrock's character in Weird Science. Lisa, by the way, was her name. Well, he reminds me of it's the arm strength of John Elway, the accuracy of accuracy and athleticism of Aaron Rodgers, and the toughness and tenacity of Brett Favre, right? We've created Weird Science for quarterbacks. And I'm not saying that he's not awesome and put in a perfect situation to be awesome and seems to be humbled and understanding that he actually didn't play that well. That was the worst game of a starter of his 5 starts, 1 last year and 4 this year. And yet he still left-handed pass, couple of huge completions, won the game in a hostile environment, first team in 66 tries to be down double digits in Denver and get the win in the fourth quarter. But the story that people are missing on is Case Keenum's a great kid. Good story. 6 years in college. Small, gritty, tough. All those cliches we use for the undersized, under-talented backup quarterback who's gotten a shot. He's got all the intangibles in the world. He doesn't have the tangibles of Pat Mahomes. And that's why they were the only team all year to be shut down by the Kansas City Chiefs defense when they're at home with a lead and shouldn't have happened. Coming up next, oh, by the way, this is another reason I'm not freaking out about Pat Mahomes. I told people on Cowherd today, like, look, you can't touch a wide receiver. You throw it deep, it's pass interference. You're allowed to run pick plays. RPOs now you can use because in the NFL, in college football, you get 3 yards down the field. Now in the NFL, instead of line of scrimmage, you get a yard to almost 2 yards where the lineman can go downfield so it looks like it's a run. And then can't touch the quarterback below the knee, above the neck. You can't land on them. Look, the NFL knows what they're doing. We like watching scoring. We don't watch soccer. We don't like soccer for one reason. Soccer is an awesome sport. They don't score enough. Hockey, they don't score enough. But even hockey, what, they got 4-on-4 in the overtime? Right? Hockey, they got it a couple years ago. Shoot, they know that we want to see scoring. We want this thing wrapped up. Let's go get some points on the board. Same thing with basketball. Basketball made a change years ago. No hand checking. Now you can't, there's no illegal screens out in the perimeter. Get that lane wide open. So you can't compare the stats of Russell Westbrook to anybody last 15, 20 years, 30 years, because more possessions, more points, less muck in the lane. This is from Adam Schefter's Twitter account. 3,030 points scored is the most through week 4 in the NFL history. The previous high was 2,986 in 2012. 344 touchdowns are the most through week 4 in NFL history. Previous to that, it was 332. So more touchdowns by 12. By 12 in just 4 weeks. The NFL knows what they know. We want offense. Give the customer is always right. The channel is called Red Zone. And so I'm not going to sit here and tell you Pat Mahomes isn't awesome, but I can't compare Pat Mahomes historically with his stats because the stats are skewed because the rules have changed and the sport has changed.